All right, guys. Odd video today. Now, most of you know me through the world of mixed martial arts, combat sports, ultra endurance, CrossFit, these other, other sports and the achievements through the association to the achievements of elite athletes. But also, since this is a YouTube channel, we've taken an interest in fellow YouTubers. Now, what we offer, there's a lot of differences, I think, to what we offer because we offer real world experience in working with elite level athletes and the performance we're able to achieve through evidence-based, battle-tested methodology that we discuss here through the DOLCE diet and fitness. But also, anytime there's some controversy in the YouTube fitness world, I think it's our duty to discuss it with you. Because you guys are on YouTube, you know the YouTubers, and it's worthy of conversation. So over the weekend, YouTube and social media exploded as a result of the rich PIANA of 5% nutrition and TRUCC. Now, I know Rich PIANA. I don't know him personally, but I followed his channel and followed his conversations for a while. I like some of Rich's early stuff. His later stuff has become more just self-grandizing and entertaining, and more power to Rich. He's out there. He's making money. I do have a lot of disagreements with what Rich talks about. In a lot of areas, I don't think it's very helpful for those young health and fitness minded individuals, but that's his philosophy, and of course he's able to talk about that. Now, TRUCC, I don't know anything about this guy other than he was affiliated with Rich and 5% Nutrition. They had some sort of business relationship. He was a quote unquote athlete of Rich's, an endorser. And, I don't really know much about the guy. The only time I see this guy's name mentioned is when he's starting a controversy surrounding Rich PIANA. So it appears to me that TRUCC and his team and his crew felt that there's a great way for them to gain notoriety, and that's continually associating their name through controversial means with Rich PIANA and 5% Nutrition. I don't know either guy. Personally, I don't really care, whatever. Everyone has a right to make a living as long as they do so morally and ethically, yada, yada, that's fine. Now, our good friend Louis Marco, he's the guy that I really go to for all of my even some MMA, because Louis Marco does talk MMA, but really all the bodybuilding, all the fitness, all the YouTube content comes from Louis Marco. He's kind of my consigliere in the YouTube fitness world. He knows this industry a hell of a lot better than mine. I religiously, little plugs to Louis here. I view his YouTube channel every day. I subscribe to his YouTube channel. I follow him on Instagram and social media. He and I are very friendly, back and forth. We've never had a phone conversation, although we should, Louis. I'd love to get you on the podcast. But we do kind of DM back and forth from time to time. So Louis did a great job covering the story as a journalist would, and really showed what I felt was an impartial view of the facts of what seemed to happen through other video footage as taken by fans of the event. Now, it all boils down to the LA Fit Expo, one of the largest fitness expos in the world, happened this past weekend. Rich PIANA, his 5% Nutrition booth was there. They're always very popular. Big lines and big booth and all that fun stuff. And evidently, TRUCC and his team were there. I don't know whether or not they had a booth. I didn't see that reported, but they were there. They were all decked out. They were wearing the same shirt, same color. They had a good look to them. They stood out. So both teams stood out. Rich and his team were all dressed kind of in the black, 5% Nutrition. Mac and his team all dressed in the white, which is kind of a funny juxtaposition of the two. You kind of get the good versus evil, the black versus white, although I'm not saying either was good or evil. Now, there was some sort of beef, and then Mac evidently was kind of, chirping at Rich. From the videos that I saw, there could be a deeper backstory to this, okay? So I just want to be clear on that. Now, I want to talk about the punch because there was a physical altercation, which turned into a larger physical altercation. Now, the first thing and the most important thing is, gentlemen, we're professionals. You're supposed to be a professional. This isn't the street. You're not thugs. You are professionals. You are ambassadors of health and fitness. That's what you should be. Rich has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He's got millions and tens of millions, possibly hundreds of millions of views to his channel. He has a pretty large social media empire. So there's lots of eyeballs on him. Mac TRUCC trying to get to the Rich PIANA status or level, which is certainly fine. He has professional aspirations. The wrong way to do this is through the type of controversy that they're creating. It is very lowbrow. It is very unprofessional. It is very inappropriate for the representation to be a true ambassador of health and fitness, to be truly regarded in esteem. And Rich seemed to do a much better job of understanding that and trying to diffuse the situation while not completely backing down to the challenges or the intimidation tactics by Mac TRUCC. Now, the videos that I saw, and Louis probably had at least 10 different videos, and I did search some other channels, and I got a pretty decent view of the audio, but also of the video. And unequivocally, it appears that Mac TRUCC did throw a cheap shot at Rich PIANA. He punched him, and he punched him in the face. He punched him in the face from a distance that was not as they were squared up, ready and willing to fight. They were simply talking, almost negotiating, where Rich had said just prior to this, listen, let's go outside. Let's just, you and I, go for a walk. Let's get out of the venue. Let's get away from the security guards. You leave your team. I leave my team. Just you and I, let's go for a walk. This is the analogy or the same thing as you see a dude in the bar. You don't like each other. Well, let's take it out back. Let's get away from the bouncers that can break it up. Let's get away from the cameras. Let's get away from all the people who are going to jump in. And just me and you. Two men, let's step outside. Let's settle our differences. Hopefully have a beer afterwards. Rich had basically taken that tact, which I agree with. You got a problem with me? Let's go outside. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this out. Just you and I. Leave all this bullshit here. Just you and I. Well, Mac TRUCC, unfortunately to that, stood there a beat, kind of looked down, and then shot a punch across, a lunging punch across to Rich, who was standing there with his hands down, talking, literally in a conversation. I believe he was behind a rope. There was quite a bit of distance. They weren't squared up in a fight stance, ready, let's do this. It was a cheap shot, 100%. It was a cheap shot. And that, again, hurts Mac TRUCC's brand. Because now you look at him and you're like, oh, that's the dude that cheap shot Rich PIANA. Whether or not Mac would win in a real fight, in a fair fight, that doesn't matter. He'll be the guy forever known as the guy who threw a cheap shot at Rich PIANA in front of security guards and hundreds of people, knowing that it would be broken up. Can't really respect that. Now, again, I don't disagree with everything Rich PIANA says, and I probably disagree with the majority of the things that Rich says, although there's an honesty to him. Although he does have a spin for business, those of us in industry, we understand what he's doing. I'm not going to hate on him for that. I do think, I'm not a fan of the message he puts out. I do think it's harmful for those young men out there and some women that are trying to better themselves, trying to better their physiques. We're really focused on health and fitness, not, physical augmentation, cosmetics only, whatever the fuck it takes. That's not cool anymore, unfortunately. That's not the way the industry's going. That's not the way the world is going. That's not the way science is going. That's not the way that it should be, but to each its own. Whatever, do your thing and live the life. I don't even, all of you guys. We do try and take a more honorable, honest approach to health, fitness, longevity. We're a longevity-based company, although we work with bodybuilders and physique competitors and mixed martial arts athletes and CrossFit and yada, 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 yada. We have a whole stream of professionals and elites that we work with, but I digress. Back to the issue. So my take on it was, unequivocally, Mac TRUCC, in my opinion, threw a cheap shot at Rich PIANA. I believe that Mac TRUCC did this intentionally, knowing he'll get videos like this. There's probably hundreds of videos right now on YouTube thousands and tens of thousands of minutes are now being dedicated to the name Mack Truck. Although, what cost will that be to Mack Truck? It's so funny. It's so weird for me to even call him Mack Truck. I mean, come on, that sounds ridiculous. What's your real name, dude? Like, you know, Joe Smith or whatever your real name is. Mack Truck sounds odd. So forever now, I'm always going to remember Mack Truck as the guy who threw a cheap shot at Rich PIANA. So I don't care what information he comes out with, what product or service he's trying to sell. I, as a consumer, I'm not going to frequent his YouTube channel because I could care less. I'm not going to purchase any of his products because I could care less, because he's the guy who threw a cheap shot in the middle of a fitness expo at a guy he didn't like, who's a businessman who, and to Rich's, credit, was trying to professionally diffuse the situation. Whether or not he liked Mack Truck or wanted to fight Mack Truck, he understood that he's representing his company. He's at a professional expo surrounded by thousands of people watching. This is not the time nor the place to engage in such antics. So to wrap this all up, it's definitely unfortunate. It's certainly not cool. It's completely ridiculous. Now, as a former professional fighter myself, and as the coach of many of the world's greatest fighters, this is ridiculous, guys. You're grown-ass men. Grown-ass men throwing punches like little boys in non-sanctioned arenas in front of the innocent public is ridiculous. You're not gangsters. You're not hood. If you were, you wouldn't be doing any of this shit on fucking camera, right? If you were truly gangster, if you were truly hard, if you were truly about that life, nobody would know a fucking thing about this. This shit would happen all at 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the middle of the night, right? Nobody would know anything about it. So all of this is done for the cameras. All of this is completely contrived. All of this is completely ridiculous. And it's embarrassing. You've embarrassed yourself, Mack Truck. Rich, a credit to you. You stood your ground. You did your thing. So, I respect your professional position, of course, in this. And there's likely to be lawsuits. If someone does that shit to me, I don't care who it is. If someone does that shit to me, if someone does that to any American law-abiding citizen, there's going to be lawsuits, whether the LA Expo sues, whether the venue sues, whether people in the crowd who have been emotionally hurt from witnessing such violence sue, whether Rich sues, whether anyone who was engaged in the scuffle sues. You open yourself up to life-changing negative ramifications. For what? For a couple YouTube headlines that are going to be negative and hurt your brand in the long run? Ridiculous. Guys, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this little video. We'll be coming back with hardcore evidence-based science training methodologies, nutrition programs, and lots of amazing content for you. Subscribe to this channel. I do appreciate it. You'll get every single video that we launch. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about. Did you see the situation? Were you actually there? And we'll keep it moving. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon. Boom!